Blackbird is an emotional roller coaster. Is this tearjerker worth the tears? Let's get into it. Blackbird premiered at the 2019 Toronto International Film Festival. This movie is a remake of the Danish film Silent Heart. Blackbird is set to be released on video on demand September 18th, 2020. Blackbird is directed by Roger Mitchell and stars Susan Sarandon, Kate Winslet, Sam Neill, and Rainn Wilson. The plot of this movie is a terminally ill mother, Susan Sarandon, brings her family together one last time before she dies. This movie is definitely really sad. It's definitely a tearjerker, but overall I really enjoyed it. So the story starts out with Susan Sarandon. Her character is really sick, and she's gathering her family together one last time before she dies. We find out that Susan Sarandon's character, she has ASL, and her symptoms are only going to get worse, and eventually she's going to be paralyzed. So she made the decision that she is going to end her life early, and this is her last weekend to spend with her family before she decides to take her life. So what did I like about this movie? First, I'm going to have to give it up to the cast. We have such an amazing cast in this movie. We have Susan Sarandon, Kate Winslet, Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. We got Rainn Wilson. Susan Sarandon, I think, does an amazing job in this role. She's such a good actress, and she really brings the emotions to this role, and you really feel her pain and kind of her making this big decision and her wanting to stick with that decision. It's just definitely, she sold this role for me. And also, I have to say, Kate Winslet, I love seeing her as well. She plays a character who she's pretty much she's Susan Sarandon's daughter in the movie, and her character is kind of like a know-it-all, and she just is very opinionated, and I really liked her character as well, and she sold the emotions. Overall, I feel like the cast did a really good job, and they're the strongest points to this movie for me. This movie's definitely very emotional, and it's sad watching anyone you know be terminally ill. That's a sad thing to watch, and this movie definitely brings the emotions. I would say. And it makes you think, like, what if this was you? If you were terminally ill, would you consider ending your life, especially if you knew you were going to be paralyzed? So I know that's definitely controversial, but it just definitely makes you think, like, what would you do if that was you? Would you be willing to end your life early if you knew what the outcome was going to be? Also, not even just if it was you, it also makes you think, like, what if this was one of your family members? Are you supportive of them doing this to themselves, or are you going to talk them out of it? It really brings the emotions there. And one thing I would say is death is very relatable. Everyone's going to die, and this movie does a good job just really making you feel that. And I don't know, I would say for me, I've seen loved ones be sick before, and I've had loved ones die, and this movie does a really good job of capturing those emotions. And while this movie is really sad, there's also a lot of funny moments as well. I definitely laughed quite a few times in this movie, so I think it's a good balance of this heavy subject, but there's also a lot of humor in this movie as well, and it just overall, it's really, you see their family come together and just share memories, and it just definitely makes you feel or miss your own family and think about them. So what didn't I like about this movie? One, I would say the storyline itself, I think, is it's a good storyline. Just having someone sick and kind of making this decision, I feel like that storyline is enough right there, and everything else can kind of surround that. Where I feel like some of the negatives I would say about this movie is, so you have the main storyline, and then throughout the movie as you watch more, they kind of add other stuff on top of the main storyline that just makes the story more complicated than it needs to be. I feel like just the fact that, you know, you have this character who's sick and planning to end her life, that's enough that we need, that everything else can kind of be centered around that. You don't really need to add extra stuff on top of that. It just makes the storyline too complicated. For example, we have a character who's dealing with mental health issues, and you find out they're bipolar. While that was, it just was something that was thrown into the story that I don't think necessarily needed to be there. Or you have characters, there's someone who might be cheating. It's just certain stuff like that. The movie was already dramatic enough. You didn't need to kind of keep adding all these different layers on there to make it more dramatic. I think the movie would have been more effective if you just stuck with the initial, this is what's going on, and everyone's emotions around it. But overall, I will say I really liked this movie a lot. It definitely was really emotional, definitely a tearjerker, and by the end of the movie, I definitely was depressed, and I definitely left the movie sad. But like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Overall, I like sad movies. I would say if you're not a fan of sad movies or you don't really like emotional movies, then this movie might not be for you. But if you enjoy a good sad movie and you like being emotional, you like going through that emotional roller coaster, I definitely recommend this movie. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Again, it comes out on digital September 18th, 2020. So if you get a chance, I definitely recommend you watching it. If you do watch it, let me know what you think. Blackbird, are you going to plan on watching it? Are you a fan of the cast? If you do watch it, let me know what you think and leave your comments below. Also, have you seen the original version of this, Silent Heart? Please let me know what you think. Thank you, and if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.